Okay, ladies, this was what we made in part 1. We've got our little flaps here on each side. Now let's do some ephemera, and I'm going to show you the way I do mine. We're going to use some pockets that come in the kit. We have a huge selection. We've got little fussy cuts, and there's more fussy cuts also in this kit. These are all the pockets, big ones. We've got some envelopes with the tags that go in them. We've got a belly band there. All this ephemera. And some envelopes. So, let's pick a pocket here and get started. Going to start on our first little guy here. So let's find a little card that's going to go in it. And how about we do an acetate pocket on this one? I have a little strip of acetate. I buy my acetate in these big rolls. It's a lot cheaper than the sheets, and this is actually for cakes. I just get it on Amazon. You get an enormous roll of it. Lasts me a few months. So I've got a little scrap here that's going to work perfectly. Let's mark it here. Straighten up that edge a little bit. Lining it up against the fold line and against the edge of the card here. And you're going to need a good marker to mark with, because an ink pen will not write on this acetate. Trim it off. Now we've got our top, our sides, and our bottom to our little acetate piece. We're going to put score tape, and this is 1/8 of an inch score tape. Again, you can get it on Amazon. You get 3 rolls when you order it. You're going to line it right up to the edge. Sides and the bottom. I'll show you a little trick about how we lay these down, how I do them. So it's not so difficult, because once the double-sided tape touches your paper, it's going to stick. I'm going to turn my card upside down because I want to line it on the bottom first. So I'm going to remove the bottom piece. And then on my sides, I'm just going to, let me get my pokey tool here. I'm just going to fold back a tiny little bit there, just so I have enough to hold on to. Just fold them over and get that little guy to cooperate. Here we go. Another little trick, if you're afraid you won't get it right, and sometimes I don't, you can put your liquid glue on this. I'll give you a little bit more, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to stand up here so I can look down. Let me fold it out here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm lining it, I'm holding it off the paper, and I'm kind of eyeballing it, getting my corners straight. I'm going to lay it down. Now I can pull off my sides. And get, oops, got it crooked. Lift it up just a little bit because I haven't pressed it down. There. And sometimes you need to trim it off. At least I do. You can just hold it up, see the glare. You can look at the back side, see where you need to trim. You can, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but I'm just a tiny bit over. Use our craft knife. Press pretty firm because it does like to slide out from under you. Let's cut off that little sliver. A little bit at the bottom. I don't think I have any more hanging off. Nope, looks good. And there's our little pocket. So let's find a card souvenir. I'm going to pick one from this sheet. I'll show you how I back mine. I just think it's a little bit easier. And we'll go ahead and pick the one that goes in there. Let's get this lovely lady right here. And let's put a dangle on it. So we might as well find it. I took the journal pages and I chose wallet size. So you've got 3, 6, 9 journal pages right here, just to make them smaller. And again, wallet size is what I used, and they're about 2.5, and across they're 3 3/8. We're only going to use one of them, so we're going to cut it in half. Trim a little bit off. And we'll pick some backing paper here. This is from the Steampunk papers. Glue the back. And I do all my cards this way, so I won't make you watch me do them all. It's just the same thing over and over. Just back them like so. And let's get an assortment. Here's one of the plain backing papers. And on the little tags, the little dangles I use, I always put a colorful back paper on it, so if it was to flip over, it still looks pretty. Glue those down. Remember our scraps we kept from making our main base piece? Let's get one of them. Make sure we've got it right side up. Glue our little dangle to it. And it will have a pretty background. Okay, let's cut these out. You can cut them out with the scissors, or you can use your trimmer, whichever you prefer. Doesn't matter. Whatever you're more comfortable using. Another little tip. If your glue is not dry, you never want to start on the edge of your picture and cut. Start in the center of your picture and cut both ways. Then it won't crinkle your edges. If that makes sense. If you ever do it, you'll know exactly what I mean. It will just wad up the paper. Trim off our little corners here. There's one. And we have this little card. And here's our little dangle. I like to back mine this way instead of cutting the exact same size and gluing it on. Excuse me. God, so sorry. Because this way, when you cut, you know that both pieces are the same. If you cut two pieces and glue them together, it's kind of like when we made the flip up. You've got to do a lot of trimming. This way, it's all great. One's not too short and you have to do it over. So it just works for me. So we'll do one. Let's see. Gotta ink it up, of course. And I ink both sides. And our little guy here. Also, when you want to trim on a card, if you'll brace your scissors onto your fingers, you're not, it cuts down on, I can't think of what I'm saying, it cuts down on all the wobbling and everything, and you can go pretty straight. Line the side of your card right up against the blade of your scissors, and then when you cut, just keep it pressed up against it, and you'll cut perfectly straight. Dangle. Now, this little guy's going to go in here, and you can add more if you want. I'm just giving you an example of how we're going to do it. This guy's going to go up here, and let's hope that I pressed it down so good I can't find it. Oh, that was the one, duh. That was the one that we were going to do the side pull on. So, this card will not work. Sorry about that. I forgot we did a side one on that one. Let's find another card here. Let me look through all these choices we have. See what we've got. And we may have to cut one down. I bet this one will work. Right here. Sorry about that, ladies. And when I print out my digitals, I look at all the pieces that may need to be backed, like an envelope. If you didn't back it, when you folded up your envelope, flipped it over, you would have all this white. So I back mine. That way I'm ready to go when I'm ready for the envelope. So, let's back this one. Let's see, what did we put on him? We put the plain, so let's use a piece of this again. I think he'll fit. If not, we can sure trim him down. And he was on the same page as the envelope, so he has a backing already. But I always use 2 layers of cardstock because I like mine very durable. But if you don't want to do that, you can just print on the back of all yours. Just select one of the back papers and print it. Or if you want it white, leave it white. That's up to you. Get it lined up here. Now because he's very wet, I'm going to use my scissors instead of the trimmer. And I'm butting the card right up against the top blade of the scissors. Let's see we did. Open them up a little bit. And if your pockets ever get tight, take a ruler, the thinnest one that you have. Stick it in the pocket, run it along the side, go up to the top, and then just kind of give it a little tweak there, and that loosens up your pocket. Don't want to do too hard or you'll undo the glue, and he will fit perfectly. Now this next part I have debated whether doing on camera because it's noisy. The way I set my eyelets, I have this big setter here, but I don't like the back that it leaves. I have a manual setter to set eyelets, but you have to use a hammer, and it's noisy. It's loud, as hammering always is. So I'm going to put a little eyelet there, punch a hole. You can get the center, put it on your mat or measure it, whatever you've got. Find the center, put a little dot there. Just poke a little hole. Then I'm going to get some eyelets. I think I'm going to use lavender eyelets to go with the paper. And we'll need 3 to finish out. So this might be the part where you want to cover your ears. This is the setter I use, and it's got a rose pattern on the bottom. Okay, here we go. Here's the noise. And there's our eyelet. Now let's take some ribbon. Let's see, what color do we want? I've got 3 shades here. I think that one looks good. It's just chiffon ribbon, again, Amazon. Lace it in there. Now, when you lace it in, you notice how it turns. You want to make sure that it's all straight so that your knot won't be so bumpy. Keep it straight, just tuck it in, just tie a half knot. Pull on each edge of it. Trim it off, make sure we got it even. Looks pretty good. Stick that little guy in there. And there he is. You don't have to do this. It's just an option. I wanted to show you how I do it. And we're going to do the same. Let's see. Since we don't have the dangle, we'll use our little dangle that I made for this one. This little flap here for its card. Let's put another little guy in there. We need a small one. Well, let's use our little dangle because he'll work fine. We'll just make us another one. We can stick it in there. Just like so. And there's one. Let's move on to this one. And let's see. Some of the cards that I made, the 5x7s, they work also great for cards. You don't have to do your flips. So let's pick this little guy here. And we'll need a pocket. And if you ever want to know how something's done, if I know how to do it, I'll be glad to show you. I'll put it in a tutorial. So message me, all you ladies and gentlemen out there that say, how do you do this? Or what should you do with this? Just message me and I'll do my best. If I don't know, I will look it up and we'll figure it out. Let's get this one back. And these are the only cards I'm going to do, because I know it's boring for me to do the same thing over and over and over. So what I will do in part 3 of this one is we will go back and we'll decorate everything. Add some fussy cuts, whatever we want to do. I might be able to stick it in this one, because I'm going to do enough tutorials on this one to make a complete journal, cover and all. So there's going to be many parts to this one. Okay, I went ahead and did all the noisy hammering off camera. Put the ribbon in the top. You can see the little flower effect, the little petals. That's why I use the eyelet. I just like it better. And that's going to slide down in there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back a bunch of ephemera, and then we'll come back. It'll all be ready, so you don't have to watch that whole gluing process. And we'll resume and decorate this little guy some more. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have got some kind of plan going, subject to change, but we're going to do all our pockets, and then we'll come back and put our cards in and embellish it. So, what I've done, we did this little guy with the acetate. Remember, little pull out here. We need to do something there, but for right now, we're going to work on this. Remember, this was one of our journal cards, pages, that we resized to 5 by 7. So all I did was print another one. And this, we're going to make our own pocket to match what's underneath. So I've already got it cutted out. Cutted, is that a word? I've already got it cut out. And we'll see what we want to do. Let's cut it about where the wall stops there and the wallpaper begins. And yes, we're going to cut the lady right in half. There she is. But when we lay it down, we're going to line it up so that it finishes her image. So when the card is out, it looks identical. Let's ink up the edges. And this is where trimming might come in with our craft knife. We never know until we lay it down. Looks good to me. You could put a little scallop out of there if you want, and just get a hole punch of your choice. I use 1 inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch, and 3/4 and 1 1/2. Those are my hole punches. If you've never done it before, just open up the little guy, and I don't want to punch this one, but I'll show you on a little scrap here. Just take it. You can see the paper in there, and you can make it as shallow or as deep as you want. Let's get down here in case I want to use a scrap for something else. Press it, and there's your little thumb pull. But on this one we're not, because I don't want to cut into her, because it just takes away from finishing our little pocket. Put some glue. Hold on. I always hold on to the part that I am not gluing to try to keep it straight for me. Sometimes I still mess it up. I have to wipe it off and start over, but that's okay too. Now let's get it lined up. Make sure that her little arm is under her sleeves. Even at the bottom. Let me grab a paper towel here. Sure we don't have. There we go. See? Little pocket. Alright, let's do the other side. This one's going to be interesting. We're going to do something different. Again, this was the other side of this. Remember, we folded in half to make one. So let's cut this out. Make it fancy. This is optional, ladies. You don't have to do that. And gentlemen, you don't have to do this. Just going to cut out the books. And we'll see how far over I want to go. Probably not all the way, because the top of this clock is kind of intricate. I don't think we could cut that out really good. So let's just go to our wheels there. Another thing when you're cutting, especially if you're going in a circle, turn your paper, cock your scissors over to the side, and turn your paper under your scissors instead of your scissors turning. Let's see, how would we do that? Okay, I'm going to go right up to the clock and straight down. Now this is what we have. See there? Let's get it inked up. We're going to glue on this side and the bottom. So I'm going to hold on to this side. Match it up. You can kind of see the books under it to help you. And this little white line that's going down, kind of get it lined up, get your bottom fixed. And there we go. There's another pocket. Right there. Okay, I had to put me a note here so I wouldn't forget. If you've been trying to read it, it says belly band acetate. We're going to make an acetate belly band. I'm going to remove these little guys. He's for what I want to do over there. Hope I won't forget. So I picked out this paper. You pick out whatever you would want, and I'm going to lay it and just kind of do an eyeball on what I think would be a good width here. About there's good. And on the acetate belly bands, you can make them a little bit wider because you're going to be able to see through it. So you're not covering up a lot of the image if you had a pretty image underneath. So we just need to get our length. Put a line down at the bottom. And these are ideas. They're not, by all means, you don't have to do what I'm doing. I just thought I would give you some options. Maybe you'd like to try them one day. Okay, there we go. Now, we need to cut out this. So what I do is I have this wonderful thick, heavy ruler here. And I make a 1/2 inch at the top. Put a line without the curve. And a 1/2 inch at the bottom. And we will go over 3/8. Third mark on your ruler. And hopefully I don't mess it up. I have to start over. Just line up our 2 marks. Our one up at the bottom. Other mark. And our 1/2 inch at the bottom. our craft knife. Let's line it up here. Don't go over your 1/2 inch line this way. Start right at the edge. Hold your ruler down very firmly. And go right to the 1/2 inch mark here. Let's do the other side. Get our ends. My ruler has slipped before and I've cut this big mess, stomped on it, threw it in the trash, and started over. There. Save our little scrap. Never know. This is what we have now. And cut the inside. There we go. Get our score tape and our acetate. Now when we cut our acetate, we do not want it all the way to the top because we want to glue this. If you put it all the way to the top, then you're going to have to stick this on with score tape and not glue. So I'm going to cut it. And it does not matter if you're along the edge. I usually come in just a little bit, but it doesn't matter. If you want it to the edge, are fine. So right there. Cut out our little piece. Check, we got it somewhat fitting. Looks good to me. Now we're going to put our score tape on all 4 sides. I use this acetate, the kind that you bake cakes with, because it is stronger. It doesn't mar as easy, and I just like it better. I've used the sheets, and there's nothing wrong with the sheets. They're just not my preference. And we'll see if I can get this laid down right. And we're going to take off our top. going to fold down our sides just enough that we can hold on to it. Now, this is the way I'm going to do this one. I'm going to line up this. The tape is all still around the sides and the bottom. So I'm going to lay that there, get it kind of centered, and see how it works out on top. I'm going to stand up again so I can overlook it. Looks good. Press it down. Reach under there and grab your little tab. He's hiding. There we go. Just pull it out from under there. And just reach under there and get this little guy. Fingernail, my pokey tool, whatever. And there's our window and our belly band. I always ink up the edges afterwards, because if you're inking it without the acetate, it's really flimsy because you got a big hole in the middle of your paper. So that's why I do it this way. And we're going to glue it down just like so. We only need glue at the top and the bottom. Get it straight, get it centered from side to side. There, now we have a belly band. We can stick a card in here, like so. And we will do that in part 3. Okay, let's flip it over. I cut out these little pockets. Then I'm going to glue here. I've already got my tabs scored and folded. When you fold in your tabs, always put your bottom on the top. If you put it this way, your card is going to hit that. This way, it's going to hold it up so that when you slide a card in, it will not hit this. Get it inked up. And we're going to put it right in this corner. Make sure we're not hanging over on the top or the bottom. We're good. And let's do this little guy. He's going to fit right here. Again, folded in my tabs. Sides go in first, bottom last. Don't want to get too close to your edge, right up to it, because when you press it down, your glue will squish out and then you've sealed up your pocket. So let's kind of find where we want them. We want to leave enough space here. We can add something. Get them centered side to side. Looks straight. Looks good. Press them down. And again, you can use your bone folder to press this down if you would like. Okay, we've got that side done. We still need something on this little guy. What shall we do? You want to do another acetate? Or, let's see. This one I didn't think of. Let's do a cute little pocket like this. Now you can see how I do the pockets. And all you're doing is following the lines here. Nothing really too difficult about that. I'm going to turn your paper under your scissors. And we'll score this little guy. And I'm putting the line right here, right in the center of my score. Then let's see if this little guy's going to fit. It's not, we're going to trim him off. Let me remove this card so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So we're going to, should we do it on that side? Yeah, let's do it on this side. So we're going to make some alterations to our pocket because he's a little too big. You can see this is where we folded it over. Remember, I showed you how to let it slide and get comfortable. So where this print is, where it ends, that's where we're going to make our mark. Going to rescore it. Okay, score our new line here. Fold it in. Make sure we get it right. It sure looks off. I think can I get off of my score? No. So we're going to trim this down some. We don't need all this. And we're going to cut a big V in here. So when it folds over, it doesn't stick out there. Our teeny tiny pocket. There we go. Oops, need to trim this off again. Someone on YouTube asked me, why do you always have your thumb sticking out like that? Because there's a metal screw in my thumb and it doesn't bend. So there, for inquisitive minds. Get it lined up. There. There's our little pocket there. We've got our pocket here. We've got our books here. We've got our belly band there. We leave those two on. So we're off to the right side. I'm going to do the same thing so you can see it again. We're going to make a pocket out of here. And let's put this one, oh, we better stick our little card back in here if I lose it. We'll cut it. I don't want to mess her face up too much. So let's do an angled pocket. That would be perfect. Okay. Let's start it about here. This is a guesstimate, and I'm going to cut from my mark all the way to the corner. That way we won't cut up any of her face. Put that in your little scrap basket. Yeah, she still matches up, and she has her entire face. A little bit of hang off over there, we'll trim. Hold on to what I'm not gluing. Put it on the side and the bottom. Get her matched up best we can. Make sure nobody's hanging over. Nope, looks good. There, now we got that pocket. Let's make a side tuck for this little guy. So let's do right about here, where this band comes up. Let's cut it right about there. I'm just going to slice it all the way down. Get it matched up. Perfect. There we go. And we have a little pocket there. Okay, let's do this guy. What shall we do? I have printed off another set, 5x7s. Cut it out. How about okay, I'm going to measure this here. Just start about right there at the top of the back of the desk. And I'm going to go, let's see, what shall I do? What shall I do? I don't want to make it too difficult. Okay, I'm going to move it down. I'm going to start here. We want a pretty good pocket because this is going to flip, and when it flips, we don't want our cards flying out across the room. So let's do an angle again, and a little mark, and I'm going to put it just up right across that plant. Save my scrap. if anything's going to need to be trimmed, it'll be this guy, because remember how we trimmed him up to get him to fit? We'll see how we do. Hold on to what I'm not gluing. I'm going to glue the sides and the bottom. I need to get this glue out of my lid here. Hold on a second. There we go. Just a tad. See if we have any hangover. A little bit right there, I think. Yep. Craft knife. Pocket right there. Now, what are we going to do on this side? We can't do a belly band because they'll flip and flop. So maybe we'll just do a straight across pocket, because these need some substance to the pockets. So I'm going to see, 3, no. I'm going to cut it at 2 1/4 inches. Some kits you buy, this is not one of them, you don't have pockets, or you have a very few pockets. So this just kind of gives you an idea of what you can do, how to make your own pockets. Hold on to the top. Oh, let's make a little pull for you on this one. Get my hole punch. And we just kind of want a medium one, so I'm going to do the 3/4. Just kind of eyeball it side to side here. Make sure the same amount is sticking out the best you can. Or you can measure it and put a dot. Whatever you would like. Put him down right there. Everybody lined up. Not all the way to here, because we need that little gap here for our fold over so it will lay down. So just to the bottom of the card that's underneath. Make sure you're not hanging over anywhere. Nope, we're good. Okay, let's move on to this one. Except we're going to do a pocket here and a pocket here. And I left them long so you can see that just because the pocket doesn't fit, just like on the other one, we'll just cut them off and make them fit. If I can find my pencil. There's some really cute fussy cuts in this kit. We'll play with those on part 3. And we'll do some interesting cards. We'll put some windows in cards. Give the cards their own little pockets. And there's some that come in this kit too that has pockets. We'll make sure we use those and some envelopes. Get it lined up. Same one on this. We don't want it too far up here because we need room to put a card. So line it up with the edge. Put a little line there. And when I'm dangling up here, I usually line up the card with one of the horizontal lines there. So I can keep it straight as possible. Let's put him about there's good. No measurements, just eyeball it. Make sure you've got good clearance for your card to go in. We can always cut down cards too. I do it all the time. I'm just above that flower. Okay, that's that little guy. Now on this one, we're going to do the center in the next one because we're going to make a big card to go in there. We're going to make a belly band. So we need about 1/2 inch on this side. So score that at 1/2 inch. Put a little mark on the edge. And we know that we're going to cut 1/2 inch from our mark. Got a little bit more than 1/2 inch, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. Score on our mark. Ink him up. Gotta get him dressed. Cut our little tabs. Don't cut the score line. Make sure we get the right side up. You can use your mat or ruler, whatever, to try to find the middle here. Don't go over into here, right at your the edge of your card. Push it down. There. We have got all our pockets. As I said, we're going to make a big card here with some flips and flaps to put there. So we'll do that in part 3. But there's all your pockets. There you go. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you in part 3. Have fun fixing your pockets. See you later. Bye-bye.